hope I am not keeping you from having a good dinner. So I'll just touch upon some points briefly. Uh, we are very happy at CAC to sponsor this event, and it turned out to be a very good gathering with very informative presentations prior to me. And I hope the networking, which was not there for last so many, I wouldn't use the word so many, but it had become a norm of life where we used to interact only on VCs and calls. And this has been, I think, one of the first event where people have come in together physically and are going to network and exchange of ideas, exchange of experiences that they have been doing in isolation. So we are very happy, Team CAC, I along with my business director Dinesh, we are very happy to be here physically also and supporting the program. So I'll run through the presentation. Yeah, thank you. I'll just give a brief overview of what CAC is. CAC is a bit unique in the admixture industry by virtue of its own composition. We don't just take in raw materials and blend them. We manufacture our own raw materials. So as you you get the admixture product, which is either a PCE based product or a SNF based product. So where does the PCE polymers or the SNF come from? So many of the admixture manufacturers, so to say, would get it from somebody, either import or locally, and blend it according to the requirement and give it. But in our case, we are backward integrated. So the customer puts in an order and within 3 hours the product reaches to them. This is very specific and very advantageous to RMX operations who have a very dynamic kind of order book. So they wouldn't have large inventory just for the sake of it, and they want to have a very JIT, just-in-time supporter. So we are there to support that. We are doing it in mostly metro areas, so where the demand is very specific in this regard. We are also present in Middle East, where we have manufacturing, full-fledged manufacturing facility in UAE, and we are also present in Oman. So we have a bit of an international experience also. So we work with all big MNCs in terms of cement and concrete producers, and we hope whatever we learn from them, working at a global scale, we are able to implement and bring those efficiencies and technologies to our pan-India customers. The group is basically 4 companies. CAC as a brand. It started with Indo Straits, which was started by the first generation of the family, which was into stocking and trading chemicals. Then we moved on to manufacturing our own in-house production. So LRC was the first company which started with manufacturing, and if I elaborate more on LRC, it is an abbreviation of Lignin Research Center. So basically this whole company started with a research focus. So in those days, lignin was, of course, it didn't start with concrete as a customer or as application, but it started with different industries, in those time, tanneries, textiles were, big time consumers. And this particular activity resulted in reduced dependency on import, which was quite a big hassle in those days. CAC, as you know, we started in 2008, which was a forward integration. Those days it was a SNF heavy admixture industry. So we had our own SNF production experience of 50 years, so we forward integrated. And we started with PCE also immediately. So we launched PCE polymers and then the admixture products based on PCE. And we, in those days, to a very great extent, today to a less extent, supply to all the leading other brands of admixture manufacturers who use our polymers as base. Perfac is a very new part of the group, which is very simple. If I have to say, you use different food packets. So when you open the food packet, maybe you'll notice the next time there is a fine lining which is there on the inside. That particular lining is a product which we manufacture. So Perfac is a new business for us. Last 3-4 years we have started, and we have already reached about 60 to 70% market share. And the customers would be companies like Procter and Gamble and so on and so forth. So this is the brief overview of how the company or the group is. It's not only a small-time admixture company. Like I told you, the evolution of the group when we started in 1942. CAC particularly started in 2008, and now we have four fully integrated manufacturing plants in four corners of the country. So starting with Navi Mumbai, Chennai, North Roorkee, and now in East in Kolkata also we have a full-fledged plant where we manufacture PC polymers and SNF also to some extent. So we have about 50 plus years experience of manufacturing base raw material for admixtures. We have our own integrated logistics unit. We have our own integrated projects unit. So all the infrastructure that is required to set up a plant is done in-house. So in that also we have reduced our dependency on people who would act as import consultants. So we are learning, of course we are evolving, but that part and how it benefits our customers. One fun example, if I have to give, the admixture dispenser and the admixture tank that we provide at the customer end, that also is a unique design. So that is developed by our project team. Typically, you would have a Syntex type tank, which would have some dead storage, and some part of it could be a 5% portion, which would always accumulate admixture over a period of time. What happens is over a period of time, there would be deposition, settlement. So that particular portion would have a very high retarder content or something. One fine day, somebody visits, somebody does a good stirring, and you have a very healthy dose of retarder coming into your production batch that day. So we have studied, our projects team studied what problems our customer will face in using our product. So that is how they have designed a particular shape and the way it has to be circulated. So all that system we provide it to our own customers. So wherever we are supplying RMX project-based plants. So, and it is not only as a branding strategy that we are present with our tank there, but it is to ensure that our product also gets used in a very proper way and the customer would not suffer on these counts also. So that is how we are taking care of the product development and product application stage as well. Some of the numbers, we have so far been connecting to about 400 customers, 1400 plus I would say, the projects which we have connected, we have served. And how did we arrive at this? We have four pillars based on which we could achieve this. One is product technology, and like I said, CAC's parent company LRC has the strength of developing. I will talk more about PC because slowly SNF is fading out. It's only 10-15% of the concrete application that we see today. So we can have polymers not only as one or two base polymers. We can tweak polymers region-wise also. So West would have a particular requirement set of raw materials. So we will have a basket of polymers applicable for West region. For North it is different, East it is slightly different, South it is different. So we have been able to tweak, tailor-make the PC polymers which work best with the particular region. And then the another layer above it is to use these polymers in different combinations and arrive at a suitable admixture product for the end user. So that is why the optimization in terms of performance, in terms of commercial value to the customer is much higher. That is the reason for the success. Like I mentioned, customization. Logistics, like I mentioned, inbound and outbound, it is all internally owned, controlled and centrally monitored. So this also results in a big efficiency, not only in cost, but in avoiding any missed chances. Many a times not able to get a particular raw material on time or not able to deliver product on time causes many problems to the customer and to the company also. So we are trying to reduce dependencies, removing out inefficiencies. All this contributes to the success of the customer. Service, we have tried to implement a model which is hub and spoke. So we don't have a big centralized team which sits at one corner and then when the customer calls, somebody is visiting. That time delay doesn't help anyone. So we have structured in a way where we do have certain people at the central locations who have the expertise of connecting pan-India technicalities, and then we have regional teams, who can move in very fast. So we have, aspired, and we have, I would say, to very good extent achieved a number which I have mentioned. We are able to connect or respond to a customer within 24 hours of his requirement. Of course, there could be, occurrences where, a remote site is there or some, particular incident is there, when we would not have been able to meet that 24 hours. But generally, we are able to meet the timeline. So that is the response time, and we are working on reducing also that, 24 hours is something we have achieved. Let's do it 20 hours, 16 hours, as low as we can go. Some of the range of products, some of our customers are already aware. So we, right from the base SNF admixture, we have up to products which can go up to M100, M150. We have products which are able to give you early strength in few hours, so you can have concrete which has significant strength gain at 6 hours and yet have workability retention up to 2.5 hours. Some of the other allied products, which our customers need and we can provide as shotcrete AFA, one of the major products that we are supplying to north and eastern, where there are big number of tunnel projects. So there also we are very successful in supplying. And since we are into manufacturing PC polymers in-house, we have certain products for the cement producers as well. So there are 3 products which cater to 3 different stages of cement manufacturing. So the first stage where we can help is in the raw mill grinding. The product range Grindwell is there. The other is the actual cement product grinding, where we have Sempro, and in blended cement also, to improve efficiency on the product performance part, we have Sem Plus. Moving on beyond the traditional plasticizer, water reducer, we have certain new range of products, which is basically 2 categories: integral waterproofing and corrosion inhibitor. So till we reach to the new products where these products become redundant, we still have, and this is something which is new to us. And why I'm saying new, because these are indigenously designed and developed. It is not that we have sourced it from a particular company and we stick a label and give it. So we were spending good amount of time in establishing it in-house so that we can vouch for its performance. So it is not that we have just done some trials, done a test report from a third party and the product is out. It all has taken 4 to 5 years of good work. So we are slightly behind our competitors in launching these products, very frankly, but we did invest that time so that we have to be doubly sure that when we go to the market, they trust brand CAC for last 13-14 years. That same brand trust should reflect in the product performance. So that is where these 3 new products are there. Okay, now I've talked about the company, the products in particular. A brief, touch upon where we are headed. We had a very good discussion on a broad sustainability concept, which Shri Panji discussed. We had a very good discussion on the binder technology, which is working towards sustainability, and we had a very good overview from a structural point of view also. So maybe the Admixture is a very humble member of this entire fraternity. It goes in very few single-digit kilos per cubic meter, but I would say it acts as a catalyst to bring together all these reactions, take forward those reactions towards what we achieve. So I wouldn't say that I would teach what is durability, what concept it is, because of course you all know it on a basic level. So what are the advances which are happening as far as durability discussion or the way forward in the global scenario? Earlier we used to have very traditional raw materials, M20, M30, 35 was a very high grade, strength aa gaya, workability was good, structure was expected to be good. Maybe it was true also to some extent because you had virgin raw materials, unadulterated raw materials and abundance of them. But today when we are moving towards different discussions, where we don't want to use natural resources, we want to cut down on the usage. So when we say durability, what does it mean? It is a feeder to your sustainability quotient. So when you say sustainability, you mean to say that when you want to meet the needs of the current generation without compromising the needs of the future generation. This is a very generic term or a phrase which can apply to any sector, any industry. So how does concrete come into all this discussion? How does concrete contribute? Because ultimately structures are part of society. They affect us as civilians. So the impact, if you look at numbers pan-India, globally, the numbers could be mind-boggling because the number of structures and the cost associated, both the commercial, environmental, if you really somebody sits down and calculates, it's a big number, mind-boggling number. So any steps taken towards reducing that negative impact in concrete, because concrete is the most widely used construction material for structures today, would go a long way. We had some numbers, which Mr. Mishra showed. So that's a right direction where people are moving. Of course, a lot of work has to be done. The Bureau of Standards, if it is actually accommodating that view, it was very heartening to know that we are from that point of view also, because people used to say, "Arey, wo to hai, but board mein to likha nahi hai." And my question to you was, more on the wording part. Sometimes people take literally on the wording that not to be recommended, then the discussion stops there. But actually, like you elaborated, it is more about cautioning and working an engineering solution towards that. So, how do you talk about durability in concrete? You don't say ki ye kam use karo, ye zyada karo. That doesn't have the objectivity. It is all subjective. What seems durable to you doesn't seem durable to another person, or not enough. So world over, people have moved to quantifying durability performance. So they call these numbers as durability indicators. The benefit is that once you quantify durability performance, you can have standards, you can have standard processes to arrive at those things. So there is no ambiguity. So whatever is done in Paris, whatever is done in Mumbai, 90-95% we are talking about the same kind of performance. So the most basic durability indicator which was there since many years but it didn't get the respect was the water permeability. It started the journey where we were trying to quantify the performance. Of course, now when we have advanced in terms of understanding the raw material availability, the application of concrete technology. Earlier, I wouldn't imagine 20 years back concrete technology was a very hip term. Today, people find pride in saying I'm a concrete technologist. But 20-25 years ago, concrete technology was a subject or a chapter which was put to option. Structures was something which was, yeah, he's a structures guy.
Limited to engineering horizon.
So, of course, that sea change has happened where people are interested in working in concrete. Concrete technology is something which is interesting, and all that has resulted in a change on ground. So today, even if you go to a very remote highway, project, you will find quite abundance of knowledge and the interest to deliver good concrete, which was not there in the metro buildings till 20-25 years ago. I'm being a bit harsh, but that is how things were. So today we have ISAT, which followed water permeability. Now OPI is falling out of fashion, oxygen permeability index. But RCPT was very popular, and now RCMT has taken over. So without disputing, whether RCPT is good or RCMT is better or something else which will come is going to be better, the approach towards understanding more and more deterioration processes and how do we take care of those deterioration by having a engineering solution and by using these durability indicators to help us achieve that better performance. That approach is something which has to be lauded, and that is something which is being worked upon globally. So there will be teams which are working on a global level also, where alliances are there between different universities, between different companies. One of the forum, GCCA, which Mr. Mishra showed, that is one initiative which is a global initiative. So things are happening at that level. So the interest level, if somebody is really interested, it is not a very local thing. There are global initiatives where you can contribute. And if you saw that slide, a good 4 or 5 number of companies were from India. Now, why all this started? Majority, all these decisions come from money. Somebody is putting money, so he would want to know what is his return. One big change where you would have noticed is the way big infra projects are being done in India recently are financed by agencies like World Bank or in some cases JICA. So they would want a specific answer to their investment. What happens is when you don't have a quantifying answer to that, they would not put a number. Okay, I'm giving money for this infra project. How many years will it be put to use? How much revenue will come? How much money you would spend on maintenance? So that put a pressure on arriving at numbers, quantifying, and then the whole process of having durability indicators vetted globally. All that started. There were some requirements. There are political, or I would say specifically in case of defense, where you have to have strategic projects, which though are extremely challenging environmentally, but you still want that project to have a strategic defense benefit. So there also, then the focus on durability rather than the strength was taken over. So that is one more need where durability indicators got precedence. The other factor where not even big agencies, but even a developer would want to understand what is the lifelong maintenance cost. Because today we as small time buyers of a small flat would also want to understand that today I'm putting my life's earning in buying this flat, but how much will I have to spend over a 20-30 year period minimum? It goes up to 50-60 years. But minimum 20-25 साल मुझे क्या maintenance देना पड़ेगा? और at the residual value, what would be the maintenance where, like you said, if we sleep up to 15-20 years, the majority of damage is done. So all these thought processes and the focus on sustainability, where we say reduce, recycle, replace. So all these things have contributed in arising that interest and specifically moving in the direction of durability indicators. Of course, I'll try to skip that because we have spoken about how to achieve, and there are different approaches, different ways of doing it. You have materials which replace the traditional OPC. You have admixtures which help you reduce the requirement of total cement, cementitious. So there are ways and manners where you limit the carbon footprint of a particular product. There are references globally where they talk about eCO2, that is the equivalent CO2 concept. So some projects would have a eCO2 equivalent requirement for your concrete. So mostly it is taken by architects. Some projects you might have come across architects who would say, this particular concrete that you are supplying, what is the eCO2 equivalent for that? Now, with our knowledge and experience so far, we know that majority of the deterioration happens due to chloride attacks. Some people have put a number about approximately 80% of the deterioration that we see is due to chloride. And then the others could be sulfate attack and ASR and ACR and other things which we are learning new. Now we, as somebody, as a company who wants to bring good products, who not only for the customers, they are not products but they are solutions. That is where we worked on these two products, that whether these two products do add value to a customer. So these particular two products are focused on durability. That is why we call them as durability enhancers. These are not regular admixtures. One is Corobit OCI, which is a chloride specific to chloride, but it's a corrosion inhibitor. It's a amine-based technology, which is a new way of developing corrosion inhibitor. So you get a better performance to the traditional corrosion inhibitors which are there in the market. A visual representation of how it works, you can see. One is a regular water with a regular TMT bar. The other is the treated water with the particular product that I'm talking about. And you can see, this particular performance is there after 5 years. Some of the projects where we already tried to prove and the projects are using these admixtures is one big project which is in Mumbai, the Trans-Harbour Link. And the other, which I think you must have seen in the tweets or the posts which our Honorable Railway Minister also had posted. This is the first vertical lift bridge done in India, in Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu. So this was done in high sea, a very challenging environment. There also we have been able to prove value to the customer. So there also this particular product is being used. Another product closer home is integral waterproofing admixture. But again, like I said, this is not the traditional, packing, filling wala waterproofing admixture. This again is a different chemistry. So it is silicate plus carbonate chemistry which works in lifelong sealing of any crevices which occur during the entire service life. So like you mentioned about physical movement, subsidence of foundations, there would be nano level or a sub 0.5 mm level crack inducements. So there this product will act lifelong. So the only requirement is there should be a certain relative humidity present and the reaction continues. So you can have crack bridging ability up to 0.5 mm. That is what we started with 0.2, 0.3 and now we have already reached a performance where we can bridge up to 0.5 mm crack widths. Again, some of the typical, these are the test reports for reference.
The crystalline compound is the integral part of the concrete, or it will be like surface application like a plaster?
No, this is an integral part of the concrete. So it is spread throughout the matrix, and any part of the concrete structure, if it due to shrinkage, early shrinkage, drying shrinkage, or due to a physical movement, has a induced crack up to 0.5 mm, it would be able to close it.
How would you decide the dose?
The dose is roughly around 1% of the cement. That is the optimum dosage where you get the maximum benefit. That is how it works.
It can be applied on the surface of the concrete?
That is true for corrosion inhibitor because that works on fixed law. But in this case, this particular product has to be integrally mixed.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
So while producing concrete, it is.
Actually, I am not agreeing with the idea because suppose your foundation or maybe any member is 700, 800 degrees. The stress, the tension will be almost in the tension zones in maybe bottom part. What will this material do in the upper 500 mm thickness if it has action only on the lower 50 mm or 80 mm?
No, that you can choose which particular portion of concrete you want to apply this. I wouldn't say that you right from 0 to whatever it is your topmost level you apply this product. Apply, when I say use the word apply, I think that is giving a wrong signal. It is only added to the concrete while producing. So you can decide that if your raft ka 1/3 bottom portion is going to be affected, you choose to add this material to the concrete which is going to be poured only in that specific area. So that is how it is. So it need not be added to the entire project concrete where it is not going to be useful also.
It is similar to the JAPAX or the Pelletron crystalline
Slightly different. That is where I said the chemistry is different. So
chemistry is the crystalline, means it reacts with the
yes,
water and forms the crystal
yeah.
and pack the
Yeah,
cracks.
yeah. The physical phenomena is that it forms crystals which get deposited, get precipitated, and they close the crevice. But how they achieve it is something different. It is different because the chemistry is different. The end product, which, or rather the end result, which you said, is similar to what other competing products are doing. But why I'm saying it is different or it is a new chemistry is because you achieve a better crack bridging ability with this.
That also fill up to the 0.5 mm. This also
That is because, you know,
0.5 mm.
yeah,
It
I'll,
also forms the crystalline.
yeah. That is the end result. That is what I'm saying.
Shall I speak something?
Yeah, please, please.
There are basically two components, two methods. One is crystal seal, what they are saying. That is a integral water protein compound. It is producing some solid materials reacting with calcium hydroxide and other HCP, hydrogenated cement paste, and giving the pores filler. All the capillary pores will be filled up, right? And Zypex-like material is something different. It is applied in the top surface. It is going and penetrating to the surface, and it is only reacting with water, not HCP. Water. Water to give a solid product which can reach the. This is the right.
And what is about the financial aspect with competitors?
I'll not use this opportunity, this forum.
Similar or it is a very
Yes,
different cost?
the only comment which I can make, it is definitely more economical because, like I said, the difference between CAC. Sorry?
What is the cost of this idea?
That I would request Dinesh. Somebody wants to know what is the cost of Krista Seal.
Sir, I would say it will be 100% cheaper than any competitor.
Yeah, how much? They say Japex or the sanitary comes around about 200 or 220 per kg. What is the cost?
I can give you about 25% discount on that.
Okay.
Like Mr. Kargupta added, the end result in the way it treats crack bridging would look like a similar performance, but the way it does is different, and that is why you get a better performance. Because there are unique situations. There are mixed designs with different cementitious combinations. You have a pure OPC, you would have a slag cement, you would have a PPC, you would have a OPC plus so many things. So our product is found to be stable across all these because, like I said, the base, the chemistry with which it arrives at that performance is different from the others. That is why it would have lesser limitation in its application, the wider application across the different combinations. That is why it is different. But so to say, the performance is similar. The end result which you say कि वो तो pore block ही होगा ना. Yes, it does block the pore, it does block the crack width, it does block the crevice, but the way it arrives at doing it is slightly superior than the others. Again, one of the big projects in West where we have used this. I'll close my presentation with this slide. This is how we are located, represented. So we are having 4 major manufacturing integrated facilities which have facilities to produce polymers in-house, of course the admixture products, and we have ensured that we are not more than 500 kilometers from any project across the country. So that is where we say that we are able to reach you, we are able to service you. And of course we are present in Middle East. Like I said, we are working with global majors, consultants who operate on a global level. So all the learnings that we get from working with them, we try to imbibe in our product development and the services that we exchange with our customers. So that is the added advantage that we have. So thank you for your time. Yeah.
Now you all know that C and D West, construction and demolition West is next 5 years topic. It's nascent here, but everybody looking at it. We all just want to know that whether Admixture has working on admixtures to mitigate that sulfate, that chloride and aged aggregates overfilled with microdust. Because nobody can wash it the way we think now. Outside India, it doesn't get washed. So what's your view on that? Are you doing some research?
Yeah, we have.
With,
Yeah.
admixtures?
There is one company in Mumbai, I would not put a name right now, but they have already started manufacturing non-structural elements, non-structural precast elements with CND waste. So we are partnering them as admixture partners. Of course, I would agree that it is too early to say that the victory is there and we have overcome all the challenges. But we have started understanding what are the challenges which will come, and from admixture point of view or from concrete mix design, concrete technology aspect, what needs to be addressed so that the product doesn't, have a deficiency, if you so to say, today's normal materials, the virgin materials, and using CND waste to make a similar application product. How do we overcome those challenges? So we have started, and that particular project is a commercially viable project. So they are selling it in the market. So a short answer to your question is we have started on that.
Great to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and it would extend to some of the structural members also. That is what is the aim. Of course, it would take time for the entire fraternity, right, from the producer to the contractor to the codal agencies, the structural, because the experience is very less. You don't have much of experience using CND waste, even in non-structural applications. But I'm happy to answer that non-structural precast products have started coming into commercial market with CND waste. So that's a journey which has started. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandar sir, for your great presentation. Actually, as in the first presentation, Pant sir told us about the sustainability. So there was a lot about that disabled people. So what I feel is we as concrete technologists are literally disabled without concrete chemicals. So chemical plays an important role. So thank you sir for elaborating about your products and different types of technologies which are coming up. And now I would request Narendra Kumar Goyal ji to felicitate sir. Now I would request Shri Sanjay Gupta ji to please come on dais, and I would request Javed Zahir ji from Berger to do the honor, please. So before we move to our concluding session, I would like to request all the team members of concrete engineers to please come on dais, please. Kar Gupta sir, please in the center, and Sudarshan sir, please. Goyal sir.